Ren from Hallowed Be Thy Game, and today we're covering must-own 3DS games before the eShop closes. Let's check it out. Welcome back to another episode of Hallowed Be Thy Game, and I am once again joined by Danik.
I'm here again.
Yes, and we are excited to share the games that we weren't able to fit into the JRPG list. We do have some JRPGs to share with you today, but most of these are just cover a wide gambit, and these are the 3DS games that either are digital only or we think you do not want to miss out on, that are probably just too painful to pick up physically. So
yeah, and we gotta contend with the closing of the eShop here soon.
Yes, so we're if there are interest in this, I think we have a few more games to probably get out another list, but just let us know. And also for today's list, it's not in any particular order of greatness. If it's on this list, we think you would have a blast playing it. So with that, let's get to our first game, Crimson Shroud, and this is digital only.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Crimson Shroud. You were telling me about it. We looked at a couple videos. Looked pretty cool.
But it is something that could be potentially going away permanently. Now, this is a D&D mashup. It is a very gorgeous art style, and there's some extremely unique developers that worked on this, like with the Final Fantasy XII developer hopped in on this, and also Level 5. They have another game on today's list. But this is something that you definitely don't want to miss out on, and with it being digital only, I do fear that this is going to be lost to time once the 3DS eShop closes.
Is this a Japanese RPG kind of game?
Yes, this is definitely pure JRPG through and through. And
Very
I
cool.
think it did have a physical release out in Japan. Not entirely sure on that, though. And the next game on today's list is Liberation Maiden, and this is another digital-only game that is on the 3DS eShop. And I do fear, once again, this is going to be lost forever, because this is a really interesting shooter, and I believe also the No More Heroes developer worked on this.
Was it Suda51?
Yes, okay, yeah.
Grasshopper Manufacturing.
This has an extremely beautiful aesthetic to it. The gameplay is very solid and smooth on the 3DS. It's fantastic looking, and honestly, if you are at all interested in the shooter genre, this is one not to miss out on. Liberation Maiden, check it out. Next up is 7th Dragon 3 Code VFD. This is another beautiful RPG that was put on my radar by Food for Dogs. This is a dungeon crawling RPG, but it has a really unique, beautiful aesthetic.
The art style in this game looks great. I love the way this looks.
Yeah, there is smooth combat. It's genuinely a hidden gem. Everyone that I trust that's played this game loves it. This is absolutely at the top of my list of games to pick up. You guys would love as well. 7th Dragon 3 Code VFD. I'm picking it up. Check out more reviews on it, but let me know what you think of it down in the comments. Now, Metroid Samus Returns. Have you played this?
I have not played Samus
Oh
Returns.
my god. Okay, Samus Returns is honestly, ignore all the hate culture about this. This game was kind of memed into the ground for me because I heard it was just kind of a hot trash game. And obviously everybody loves another Metroid 2 remake, which is kind of a fan-made thing. However, don't let kind of the hate bait culture ruin trying Samus Returns. This definitely introduced a lot of the mechanics that Dread perfected on the Switch. But the counter mechanic is excellent and smooth. It is weighted kind of weird in the beginning to where you feel like you're forcing yourself to using the counter mechanic. But by the end of the game, the combat is smooth and fluid. It looks gorgeous on the 3DS. And the 3D effects here, if it's something that you're into, work exceptionally well. It kind of puts on a clinic for the 3DS's capabilities. But it was beautiful, a little hard. I will say the final boss, the final secret boss of Samus Returns is not easy. However, it is definitely a must play. I loved it, and I think any Metroid fan should not miss out on what is an extremely unique experience in the entire series.
I remember this coming out hot on the heels of another Metroid 2 remake, and people naturally compared it to that, and there was a lot of, that's 2D, this is classic, this is 3D, I don't like it. And there was just a lot of kind of internet infighting about them. I unfortunately haven't tried Samus Returns yet. I need to get on that.
Yeah,
love Metroid.
Yeah, and I think it's something that they can both exist because they both seek different objectives and goals, and I think they both excel at their respective goals. They're definitely both worth picking up.
Fantastic.
Objection!
Now, next up, we have a couple of games for you. Actually, 3 games. Phoenix Wright Dual Destinies, Phoenix Wright Spirit of Justice, And also Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney.
Yeah, Phoenix Wright Dual Destinies, Spirit of Justice came out. They were digital only, both of them. The physical releases of the DS versions didn't sell too great in America, but at least we got some translations over here for eShop exclusives. Again, we're going to be losing those with the closure of the store. They also had some DLC. I believe Dual Destinies had a whole case only as DLC on the eShop store. I'm not so sure about Spirit of Justice. It had some costumes, which was kind of weird to me. I loved these games. I'm a big Phoenix Wright fan. The music is great. The character models I liked a lot. I enjoyed the new characters. Something worth checking out. Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright was a physical release, however. It came out, it was a kind of half. If you've ever played the Professor Layton, you kind of spent half of the game doing those word brain puzzles, and then they would transition into the Phoenix Wright court case sequences. I really enjoyed the dynamic. I think any fan of Professor Layton and or Phoenix Wright would really get a lot of enjoyment out of this. Maybe see what the other side had to offer if they never experienced one or the other. It was a neat game. Had great music.
Yeah, honestly, these are really fascinating. I need to get back into the Phoenix Wright series, but again, for everyone, DLC is something that is going to be imperative to pick up while it is still available on the eShop.
Absolutely.
And the next game and kind of series of games we're going to be sharing with you is Picross 3D.
There are a myriad of Picross games. I don't know if you have ever played any
I
of
haven't.
them.
This is completely new to me.
Very enjoyable, casual puzzle games. They've been a Nintendo franchise in Japan since the Game Boy, and they've really persisted since, to this day. Seems like every year they release a new one for now the Switch. I've played several of them. I believe Picross 3D was the only physical release for the 3DS, but there's approximately 10-ish that was put on digital only. There were some Pokemon spin-off Picross games that were also eShop only. Some of the stuff is going to go away, but it's a very casual game. You would really enjoy it. It's a great game to fall asleep to.
Yeah,
I don't mean that as they're boring. They're just very chill.
Fantastic. How about you all? Have you played any of the Picross games? Which one would you recommend? Let us know down in the comments. Rhythm Heaven MegaMix.
This is another one that's only going to be on the digital store. We're going to miss out on it here in about, a year?
Oh, wow. Yes. Yeah. Less than a year at this point.
Goodness. If you've never played Rhythm Heaven, I'm a huge fan of rhythm games. Love them. This game is you're tapping on the bottom screen of your DS or 3DS, whichever Rhythm Heaven you're playing, and it is hard as nails rhythm game. Hard as nails, but they are so fun, so full of personality. Everyone knows the 3 classroom guys. They're just really fun. They're really goofy, but boy, are they tough.
Okay. It makes me really miss Elite Beat Agents.
Absolutely.
Oh my God.
I miss EBA so much.
The DS killer.
Absolutely.
Next up, there is kind of a compilation that I think you should be aware is the 3DS Classics lineup, especially the Sega Ages.
Yeah, there was not very many Nintendo-supported games of these 3D. Yeah, you would think Nintendo would have been all over this, but Sega really did a lot of the legwork on this concept they had. What they did is they ported over some Sega Genesis, some Sega Master System, and NES games to the 3DS, and they added that 3D effect to all of them.
And what's really cool here is there are some heavy hitters. You got Streets of Rage 2, Kid Icarus, Shinobi 3, Sonic Hedgehog 1 and 2. I mean, this is kind of a playland going on right now.
Absolutely. I don't know maybe they weren't very successful. They weren't expensive. I believe Excitebike came out to kind of promote the lineup. It was free for a little bit. I think they charged $3 for Streets of Rage 2. I don't know the general pricing, but there was never any type of 3D release outside of the 3DS eShop, and we'll absolutely lose these and the device they're on when the eShop closes.
Right, and the 3DS is such a great place to play some of these old retro classic games.
And you'll never be able to replicate the feeling of a clamshell DS 3DS as time goes on.
We need more clamshell back. Switch 2 better have a clamshell.
I agree.
Alright, Azure Striker Gunvolt. I freaking love this game and series. I got into it on the Switch. However, it is on the 3DS, and if you only have access to it on the 3DS, this is definitely a great place to play it. If you are a Mega Man fan, you need to be playing the Azure Striker Gunvolt series.
I've never played the Azure Striker games. Are all of them of the Mega Man ilk?
Yeah, and they have kind of new mechanics and stuff. There is definitely some unique combat systems here with kind of the shooting, jumping, floating mechanics, but honestly, it is really well tuned. You have iconic looking characters. a serviceable story. It's definitely got that Mega Man feel to it, but it is a great experience, and the 3DS version runs great, and it's absolutely worth picking up. Shantae and the Pirate's Curse. Now, this is an extremely beloved series, and the 3DS version is excellent to play. I love the presentation with the dual screens, but honestly, when it comes to action platformers, this is definitely an extremely beloved series for a reason. There are very dedicated fans. You have absurdly iconic characters. I think even if you've never even played the games, you would immediately be able to recognize Shantae. But honestly, picking this up on the 3DS, it's a glorious experience. I have played this on the Switch, but I'm honestly thinking about picking it up on the 3DS just because I really love that dual screen layout.
I never played any of the Shantae games. They've been recommended to me numerous times since, I believe, the Game Boy Color, and I just haven't gotten to them.
Yeah, our friend Ionize is a huge fan of these games.
Do you think this is a great place to start?
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I think all of them are great entry points into this, which means it's doubly so for this 3DS version.
Excellent.
I think you would definitely not be wasting your money, and even though probably picking this up physically is absurdly, ludicrously priced, picking up digitally is the way to go. And to wrap up today's video, we do kind of want to just give a big honorable mention to every game in this list, and also in the previous games list, is DLC. Do not forget to pick up DLC from the eShop, because once it closes, even if you own the game physically, and even if on the home screen of some of these games it says go to the eShop and pick up DLC, it's going away. So we're expecting all of those functions to be null and nil. So if you're a big Smash Brothers fan on the 3DS, don't forget about the DLC. And there you have it. There's our list of must-pick-up games for the 3DS before the eShop closes. Was there any game not on today's list that you think is a must-own? Let people know down in the comments. Thank you so much for joining me here today, Danik.
Great to be here again.
Thanks for liking and subscribing, and we will see you all next time.